Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So here I am again, as I promised yesterday. This is our first video in a series of upcoming videos on the topics of business communication. Our first video is on writing a business email. So we have seen before the formalities, the techniques of writing business letters in general. We extensively talked about the do's and the don'ts of writing a business letter. And we agreed on the fact that there are so many styles of writing business letters, and for this course, we adopt or we use basically the block style letter, which is the most common today. It is not only the most common, as I said, but it is also the easiest one because in this style, we do away and we do without um, too many punctuation, indentation, and other conventional techniques. So the block style is very simple to use and also very straightforward. I hope that by now um, you have an idea, a clear idea of the block style in formatting business letters. As I told you, please don't use the internet to look for the ways of writing business letters because you will be exposed to so many styles and probably you will be confused which is right, which is wrong, and what one to use particularly for this course. So please rely solely on the materials that I share on our Google Classroom, okay? The videos or the videos that I'm going to post in the coming days will be very, very essential for you, not just to learn, um, but also to practice. Because I'm going to post examples, templates, samples, and a lot of other materials that I deem will be very, very helpful to you. All right, so let's start with business or writing a business email. Now, as you know, emails today are very, very common. Okay, we all send emails sometimes on a daily basis. Emails have replaced to a great extent the traditional way of correspondence, which is letters, sending letters. Now, most people use emails instead of the conventional and the traditional way of correspondence, which is letters, simply because emails are very easy to use and also very, very quick and instant. Okay, you can send an email now, and the recipient get it, gets it instantly, and that's the benefit and that's the advantage of um, emails over the conventional way of writing and correspondence. Now, as I said, emails are the most ubiquitous communication channels in the business world today. Now, according to some statistics, um, there are like 210 billion emails sent each day worldwide. If you make a quick search in Google, you will find probably that as of today, the number may be higher. Okay. Now, business emails are carefully written and formatted to meet the professional email writing standards. And this is what is called netiquette. I'm going to comment a little bit on this. When I say emails are carefully written to meet the standards of email writing, it means that there are certain rules, whether um, we talk about content or format, there are certain rules and guidelines that we need to follow while writing business emails. And that's what we call netiquette. As you know, etiquette is the polite way of dealing with people within a society. Okay, it is the politeness that is recommended in dealing with people in a society or among the members of a given community. But netiquette, it is also the politeness of dealing um, with virtual recipients and people, okay? I mean, netiquette is it's basically online politeness. Online politeness. So what should we do to achieve that netiquette? What are the things that we need to implement? Of course, in terms of form and content, that's what we are going to see with the upcoming slides. Now, first, let us talk about the components of an email, okay? We saw the components of a business letter. We talked about the return address, the date, the inside address, the uh, the 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 salutation or the greeting, the body, and then the subscription or the complimentary close. Those are the components of a business letter. Now, is a business email different, and what are the components of a business email? Now, in business emails, we generally have like 4 parts, okay? Now, the first thing, of course, apart from the address or the address of the sender and the address of the receiver, we'll find a subject line, okay? Now, the subject line is where you mention the topic of your email, okay, or the main subject of your email. So the subject line summarizes the message. It is an informative line that summarizes the message of your email. Then you have an opening that reveals the main idea immediately. Now, in the first paragraph of your email, that's what you call the opening. And in this first paragraph, you should immediately restate and amplify what you have stated in the subject line. What does this mean? It means that you should start immediately with the topic, okay? Don't make a long introduction that is irrelevant or probably that would be boring. You know, business people, they are most of the time very busy. So, I mean, if you don't state the subjects immediately, they will probably just shun away and avoid reading your email. So they have no time to waste. That's why you need to be straightforward immediately. Then the body, and the body explains and justifies the main idea. Okay, in the body, you need to logically explain and justify the main idea that you included in your subject line and your opening. And of course, the closing or closing remarks. Now, in the closing part of your email, there are 3 things that you can do. Okay, um, so action information, you provide action information, you summarize the message, or you offer a closing thought, right? So those are three things that we are going to explain um, in details later on. Now, let's take each of the components individually and talk a little bit about it, okay? Now, in email messages, an informative subject line is essential. It's very important. In paper-based letters, as I told you, it is optional. I mean, it is not necessary to write a subject line. But in emails, the subject line is very, very essential. It is unavoidable. You can do without it, okay? Of course, sometimes we receive emails without the subject line, but most of the emails that come without a subject line are ignored, okay? We don't read them. We think that they are spams or probably um, they are sent by fault or whatever. So the subject line makes it clear what the email is about, and it provides reason and it triggers the reader to go and read the email. Now, avoid using a one-word subject line like problem, issue, important. Okay, the subject line shouldn't contain just one word. Try to make a phrase or a short sentence, okay, using verbs preferably. Remember that the subject line is usually written in abbreviated style, and this is very important idea, okay? The subject lines, I mean, we shouldn't use articles, preferably, okay? Instead of saying, for example, a meeting a meeting with a meeting with the staff of the company tomorrow, we can say meeting with the company staff tomorrow. Okay, so there is no use of articles. Abbreviate your subject line to the maximum possible by doing without articles. Okay. Now the second component, which is the opening. Now the opening, what should you do in the opening? You reveal the main idea immediately. Okay, you jump into the topic immediately. Don't wait until a later um, paragraph in your email. No, start with the topic immediately. Restate and amplify the purpose that you summarize in the subject line in the first sentence. I mean, the first sentence of your email. Okay, this is what you call front loading. Front loading. To front load means to start immediately with the topic. If you are verbose, if you use verbiage and talk a lot about irrelevant things, probably I said that would be a little bit detrimental to your email, and probably you will risk not having it read by the recipient. So it's better to front load and mention the topic immediately. As you know, basic readers want to know immediately why they are reading a message. Okay, now here I have two examples, right? We have a direct opening and an indirect opening. And of course, the one that is advisable and the one that is recommendable is the direct opening. Now look at this indirect opening. For the past 6 months, the Human Resources Development Department has been considering changes to our employees' benefits plan. All right, very general. But here, look at this. Please review the following proposal regarding employees' benefits and let me know by May the 20th if you approve these changes. So for the sake of clarity, for the sake of being concrete and specific, avoid, as I mentioned before several times, avoid being verbose, avoid wordiness, okay? State clearly and immediately the purpose of your email. Now, the third component is the body. Now, what do we do in the body? The body provides more information about the reason for writing, okay? It explains and discusses the subject logically. Good email writers limit their discussion to one topic. It is inadvisable to discuss multiple issues in one email. Now here, the focus is laid on the fact that an email should be limited to one topic and to one issue, right? You can't, for example, include several issues or request several actions in one email, right? That would be very confusing to the recipient, and probably he or she will focus on one issue and forget the rest. So you focus just on one topic, okay? Use any available graphic devices to make your email readable and your topic understandable. And I think you remember we talked about the graphic devices that word processing software provide us with. So you can use like bulletin, listing, etc., etc. So these graphic devices can make things clear in an email. Because as you know, the utmost objective of our email or our letters is to make our message go through. And we need to make use of any available materials or any available devices to achieve that level of clarity and that level of readability. In the closing, what do we do? Now, professional email writers conclude with action information, like and dates or deadlines, okay? Action information, dates or deadlines. When I say action information, It's a call for action that is very specific and very straightforward, okay? Dates, specific dates or deadlines. This is A. B, a summary of the message. You can just restate the message in different words or reword it or paraphrase it. And at the end, a closing thought, okay? A closing thought. Here are a few examples of what an ending might be, okay? Please submit your report by June the 15th so that we can have your data before our July planning session. Now here we have very, very straightforward call for action. Please submit your report, and there is a deadline here, okay? By June the 15th so that we can have your data before our July planning session. So this is action, information, dates, and deadlines, okay? You, an ending might be also like this. I am glad to answer your questions, okay? Or I sincerely appreciate your help. Closing thoughts. Please let me know if I might be of further assistance. Um, Closing thoughts. Now let's have a look at the format of an email. Sorry. Now I can zoom in. All right. Now look at the format of. I'm sure that all of you are very familiar with the format of an email. So emails or email accounts provide you with slots like this ones here. So you have two in which you insert the recipient's email here, the recipient's email. Then from and here, your email will be automatically inserted since you are the sender. The subject line here, your reactions to our casual dress policy. Okay, the subject line is very important because it provides functional subject line and REQ to remind receiver that a response is required. This is requirement, REQ. Then you have the CC. What do you mean by the CC? It's carbon copy or courtesy copy. Now, sometimes you send an email to the recipient who is the primary receiver of your email, and you'd like other people who might be concerned with the letter, but they are not primary receivers, they are secondary receivers. You can include their emails here. You can carbon copy them. So carbon copy can also be used as a verb. You say you can carbon copy them here. And the primary receiver will see that you carbon copy them here. But in the blind carbon copy here, BCC, blind carbon copy, you include other people that will receive the email as well, but the primary recipient will not see that you included them, okay? That's why we call it blind carbon copy. All right. And then we come to the main parts of the body, which is the greeting. Now, as you see, this email here is very friendly because it starts with the personal name, Mike, comma. But in more formal emails, we use dear plus the title, Mr. or Mrs. plus family name. As I told you, if you say dear sir or madam, it is not advisable. It is inadvisable because people would like to have their names and would like to have been addressed directly. Okay, so it's better to look for the name of the recipient and write it here and say dear Mr. Allens or Mrs. dear Mrs. Smith or something. And then you can use a colon, okay, colon. Remember that when it comes to the format, it is exactly the same like letters or business letters that we talked about during the session. You should abide by the guidelines of the blocked format, which means that there is no indentation here. There is space in between the paragraphs. You can use graphic devices like bullets, etc., etc. So as you see, it's exactly like the body of a business letter, okay? Except that in emails we have the heading is like this, okay, and it is automatically, I mean, it is an automatic part of emails and email accounts. Now at the end, of course, you have the closing. Here we have the closing paragraph. Please give careful thought to these questions so that we can discuss them at our management meeting April 17th. So here there is a call for action, as we said. There is a very clear call for action and a deadline. Okay, Bill. Now, as I said, this is very informal. Okay, the email is informal. Now, if it were informal, informal, the writer would write here, yours sincerely. Okay, and here we have the signature. The signature, some people customize it and include their names, their address, and their contact information, like here. Okay, probably let me show you my personal email and how I customized my signature. Okay, so let's compose an email. Hurry up. Okay, now this is my signature, right? This is what I include um, in my email most of the time. I mean, whenever I send an email, this is what people have or read at the end of the email about me. Okay, Prof. Yusuf Al-Qaidi, Department of English Studies, Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences, SAISFES, University Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah Fes. So you can include all the information or some of the information that you'd like others to know about you. For example, here I didn't include my phone number, okay, but if it is required or if it is necessary, you can include it. Or you can limit your personal information and contact information to only few pieces of information, okay? Now, recipient, look here. This is two. I can include the email of the recipient, okay? Like, for example, this. The subject line, for example, requesting information on Dell computer, right? So as you see here, I don't have articles. It's very abbreviated subject line. Okay, I made it short. Requesting information on Dell computer. Instead of saying I am requesting information on the Dell computer. Okay, so try to make it abbreviated and short. Carbon copy, look at this CC. Now here I can include the emails of other secondary recipients. And the main or the primary receiver or the primary recipient will see that I included their emails. But if I include blind carbon copy here, okay, like for example this one, if I include blind carbon copy here, the recipients in the blind carbon copy slot will not be seen by the primary receivers and by the carbon copy receivers, okay? I hope this is clear. Now, at the end here, we have some tips for formatting email messages. After to, type the receiver's electronic address. If you include the receiver's name, enclose the address in angle brackets, like these ones here, angle brackets. We have the name of the recipient and his email. So his email should be included within these angle brackets. In most email programs, this task is automated. When I say automated, it happens automatically. After from, type your name and electronic address if your program does not insert it automatically. Now, today's programs and today's email accounts, they automate this. I mean, you don't need to do these things. After subject, present a clear description of the message. Okay? Clear description of the message. Insert the addresses of anyone receiving courtesy or blind copies. Insert the addresses of anyone receiving courtesy copies, or what we called carbon copies, or blind carbon copies. Include salutation or greeting, such as Mike, and this is very informal. Hi, Mike, this is also very informal. Or honorific and last name, dear Mr. Hardin, and this is more, in fact, is more formal, especially messages to outsiders. Double space, skip one line between paragraphs, and this is very characteristic of the blocked style. Instead of using indentation, we just double space the paragraphs. Do not type in all caps or in all lowercase letters. I mean, you need to abide by capitalization when necessary, but you shouldn't overuse capitalization, right? Or you shouldn't use just lowercase letters or small letters. You need to abide by capitalization rules and of course use it only when necessary. Include full contact information in the signature block. The signature block is the one that I showed you when I opened my personal email account. At the end of the email, that's the signature block, and it is customizable, which means that you can customize it to be later automated. So the information there can be, I mean, you can specify which kind of information to include. As I told you, I didn't use my personal phone number, but if it is required, you can use it. But your address and your contact information is very necessary. Now here we have a few review questions. In what way has email matured as a preferred communication channel? We mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that emails have become now the most ubiquitous channel of communication, whether in business or among members of individuals of the societies. In what way this happened, right? It was, of course, a very gradual change because of the upsurge and the growth of technology. So technology gave way to the ubiquitousness of emails, while letters have lost their status and their place in the world of correspondence. What is the purpose of a subject line? Okay, what do we have in the subject line? What do good email writers open their emails with? Or how do good email writers open their emails? What information is covered in the body? What are the three features that typically appear in the closing of an email? Now, to answer these questions, of course, we need to have a short review of the presentation. Together with this presentation, I'll post certain exercises, some samples that probably you can look at to get familiar, to become more familiar with writing business emails. I expect you to um, submit your homework that I posted yesterday before Monday so that I can correct it and record another video on um, um, the mistakes, the common mistakes that you commit and the things that you should avoid while writing business letters, basically application letters. I think this is it for today. I hope this effort was a little bit um, helpful. I'll try to do my best to keep you in touch and to keep you in track of this course. And if you have any questions, of course, that's why the platform is there. It's to receive your questions and concerns and interact um, um, on a daily basis. Why not? Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to this, and good luck. Stay safe.